$15 million. That's about $3 million. That was the bank account balance of the man she'd just called a complete failure. As she signed the divorce papers with a smile on her face, she had no idea. She didn't know that the last 5 months of poverty were all a lie. She didn't know her bankrupt husband was testing her the whole time. And she didn't know that in exactly 15 minutes, when the truth finally came out, she would lose absolutely everything. Let me tell you how one man discovered who his wife really was deep down, and how he planned the most silent, calculated revenge you've ever seen. The lawyer's office was dead silent, just the sound of a pen gliding across paper. She signed the final document with a smile on her lips, perfect red lipstick, fresh manicure, Prada bag on her arm, designer clothes clinging to her toned body, sculpted at an expensive gym. "Done," she said, tossing the pen onto the table. "Finally free from this dead weight." I was sitting on the other side of the table, unshaven beard, wrinkled shirt, worn-out sneakers. She looked at me with that contempt I'd learned to recognize over the past 5 months. "You're a failure, Edward. You always have been. I just didn't notice it before because your money covered up all your flaws." Her lawyer shuffled through the papers, uncomfortable. My lawyer, Mr. Henrique, just glanced at me from the corner of his eye. I gave him a slight nod. He understood. I looked at my watch, 3:42 in the afternoon. "There we go, Charlotte," I said, voice calm and steady. "You just signed the biggest mistake of your entire life." She laughed, a sharp, mocking laugh that echoed through the room. "Mistake? The mistake was marrying you. Now I'm gonna be happy with someone who's actually worth something." I just smiled, stood up from my chair, grabbed my copy of the documents. "See you real soon, Charlotte." And I walked out of that lawyer's office. She had no idea. But in exactly 15 minutes, the entire truth was about to explode right in her face. Let me tell you this story from the very beginning, because this is a story about love, money, betrayal, and the most silent revenge you'll ever witness. My name is Edward Myler. I'm 38 years old. I'm an entrepreneur, owner of 3 companies in tech and logistics. My net worth, at the time of this story, was around $15 million. I wasn't born rich. Quite the opposite, actually. My dad was a construction worker. My mom, a housekeeper. I grew up in a poor community, but I was always good with numbers, good with computers, curious about everything. I got a full scholarship to a private college, graduated with a degree in computer science, worked at several companies, saved up money, and at 28 years old, I opened my very first business. It worked out. It worked out really well. Within 5 years, I had 3 companies running, over 100 employees, and a bank account I never imagined I'd have. I bought a 3,000 square foot apartment in one of Florida's most expensive neighborhoods. 3 imported cars in the garage, expensive watches, designer clothes, international trips. But I was alone. I worked 12, 14 hours a day. I had no time for a social life. My childhood friends had disappeared. They thought I'd changed, that I'd become arrogant. That wasn't true. I was just too exhausted. Until in 2019, at a business party, I met her. Charlotte. Charlotte was 28 when we met. Long blonde hair, green eyes, model-like body. She was an event promoter. She was working at that party. We talked. She was funny, intelligent, genuinely interested in what I did. We exchanged numbers. Started going out. The first few months were perfect. She was attentive, affectionate, made me laugh. After years of being alone, I finally had someone. 6 months later, I proposed to her. She said yes with tears streaming down her face. We got married in grand style. Huge party with 500 guests at a fancy venue. Honeymoon in the Maldives, 20 days of pure luxury. When we got back, I moved her into my apartment, gave her a credit card with no limit, bought her a car, a BMW convertible, signed her up at the most expensive gym in the city, paid for a personal trainer, nutritionist, dermatologist. She didn't work anymore. "You don't need to," I said. "I just want to see you happy." And she seemed happy. For the first 2 years, she seemed happy. It was in 2021 when things started to change. Charlotte started going out more, way more, always with her girlfriends. always at expensive restaurants, VIP clubs, concerts. Edward, you work way too much. Don't you want to go out with me? Babe, I can't today. I've got an important meeting early tomorrow morning. You always have a meeting. And she'd go alone. Or rather, with her girlfriends. The credit card bills skyrocketed. $15,000 a month, $20,000, $30,000. Charlotte, we need to talk about the spending. Spending? Edward, you're rich. Why are you even worried about this? It's not about being rich. It's about being responsible. Oh, I see. So now you've become cheap. I started noticing the coldness. When I'd get home late, she'd barely acknowledge me. She was always on her phone, laughing at messages. Who's texting you? Just the girls. Relax. But her smile when she looked at that screen was different. It was intimate. One night, I woke up at 3 in the morning. She wasn't in bed. I went looking for her. Found her on the balcony on the phone, whispering. When she saw me, she hung up real quick. Who was that? Nobody. Just Olivia. She's having problems with her boyfriend. But the look in her eyes was pure guilt. That's when the doubt crept in, like a parasite. Tiny at first, but growing bigger every single day. 2 weeks after that incident, I came home in the middle of the afternoon. I'd canceled a meeting. I heard voices in the living room. Charlotte was with her best friend, Abigail. They didn't see me come in. But do you love him? Abigail asked. I stopped in the hallway. My heart started racing. Love him? Thada, I love the life he gives me. The apartment, the cars, the trips, the clothes. That's what I love. And him? Silence. He's nice, kind, but he's boring as hell. All he talks about is work. He has no edge, no attitude. So why don't you leave him and give up all of this? Are you crazy? As long as he's got money, I'm staying. And look, if something better comes along, we'll see. Laughter. I felt the ground disappear beneath me. I just stood there in the hallway, processing everything. The woman I loved, the woman I worked like a slave for, the woman I gave everything to. She was only with me for the money. I took a deep breath, walked back to the elevator without making a sound, went downstairs, sat in my car for an hour. I cried. Then I wiped my face, and I made a decision. If she only loved me for my money, I was going to find out who she really was when the money ran out. I called my best friend, Raphael, corporate lawyer, completely trustworthy. Rafa, I need your help with something unusual. I explained everything, the suspicion, the conversation I'd overheard, and the plan. You want to fake going bankrupt? Exactly. Edward, this is risky. If it goes wrong, at least I'll know the truth. He sighed. Okay, but we're gonna do this right. You'll need convincing fake documentation, and you'll have to sell everything, or at least make it look like you did. I'm ready. We spent 3 weeks putting the plan together. First, I transferred all my money to offshore accounts and under trusted shell companies, left only $50,000 in a regular checking account. Second, I fabricated a crisis in my companies. Fake lawsuits, fictional debts, broken contracts, everything documented in a completely convincing way. Third, I put the apartment up for sale, but secretly, priced way above market value so it wouldn't actually sell. Same thing with the cars. And fourth, I rented a simple small house on the outskirts of the east side. 2 bedrooms, no luxury whatsoever. Everything was ready. It was time. I got home on a Thursday night. Charlotte was all dressed up, about to go out. Charlotte, I need to talk to you. It's urgent. Now? I'm about to leave in a few minutes. It's serious. Sit down. She rolled her eyes, but she sat down. I took a deep breath, and I began. The companies are going bankrupt. All 3 of them. Lawsuits, debts. They're gonna seize everything. Her eyes went wide. What? They're taking the apartment, the cars, everything. I already talked to a lawyer. There's no way out. This is a lie. I showed her the fake documents. Lawsuits, notifications, everything meticulously done. She read them and went pale. How much are we gonna have left? Almost nothing. I'm gonna have to start from scratch. Silence. I'm gonna look for a job, rent a simpler place. It's gonna be tough, but we'll get through this together. She looked at me, and for the first time I saw something I'd never seen before in those green eyes. Pure contempt. We? You mean you? Because I'm not living in poverty because of your incompetence. Charlotte? No, don't Charlotte me. You're a failure, Edward. You lost everything, because of your incompetence. These things happen, but we love each other, don't we? We'll overcome this together. She laughed, that cruel, heartless laugh. Love? Edward, wake up. I married a rich man, not a failure. So you never loved me? I loved your money, and now that it's gone, we're done too. And she left, slamming the door behind her. I stood there, alone, heart heavy, but not from sadness, from confirmation. Everything I suspected was true. 3 weeks later, we moved. I forced it. Said we couldn't afford the apartment anymore. The house on the east side was small, simple. Water damage on the walls, old polished cement floors, a tiny kitchen. When Charlotte saw it, she almost fainted. You want me to live here? It's what we can afford right now. This is a joke. It's not. She walked in, looked at everything with disgust, like she was being contaminated. There's no air conditioning, no bathtub, no walk-in closet? No. She sat down on the old couch that came with the house and started crying. But it wasn't tears of sadness. It was tears of pure rage. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. In the first few days, she barely spoke to me. She'd stay in the bedroom all day long, glued to her phone, only came out to eat something, and she'd complain about the food I made. This is rice and eggs? You want me to eat rice and eggs? It's what we've got. I used to eat at restaurants where each plate cost $50, and now you're giving me this? Every word was like a knife to the chest, but I endured it, because I needed to see how far she would go. A week later, we went to the supermarket. I was buying the basics: rice, beans, oil, pasta. Charlotte grabbed an expensive shampoo. No, babe, we're gonna have to get the cheapest one. You've gotta be kidding me. I don't have the money. She threw the shampoo into the cart hard. People around us looked over. At the checkout, when I went to pay, the card declined. On purpose, I'd set an extremely low limit. Do you have another card? The cashier asked. Let me just take some things out. Charlotte exploded. I can't believe this. You don't even have money to buy food. This is so embarrassing. So embarrassing. Everyone staring at us. I removed some items, paid for the rest. We left. In the car, an old beat-up sedan I'd rented. She screamed at me the entire way home. You're trash. Trash. How did you let this happen? How? I'm gonna turn things around. Turn things around? You? You can't even afford to buy groceries. When we got home, she locked the bedroom door, slept in there alone. That night, I almost gave up on the plan. Almost. In the following weeks, Charlotte went from distant to downright cruel. She started comparing me to other men. Abigail's husband just landed a $2 million contract. $2 million, Edward, while you're sitting there eating rice and eggs. Olivia's new boyfriend has a brand new BMW, brand new, and you're driving around in this piece of junk falling apart. She stopped sleeping with me. Said she wasn't attracted to poor people. She stopped cooking. Not that she cooked much before. Stopped cleaning the house. I'm not a maid, she'd say. She started going out alone again, coming home late, smelling like different cologne. When I'd ask where she'd been, she'd snap back, none of your business. You're not my husband anymore. You're just dead weight I'm carrying around until I find something better. Every word hurt. But I documented everything. Recorded conversations with my lawyer's authorization for legal purposes. Wrote down the times, the lies, because I knew the end game was coming soon. In July 2022, 5 months after the bankruptcy, she came home and said, I met someone. My heart stopped. Even though I was expecting this, it hurt. Who? Oliver. He's an entrepreneur. Rich. Very rich. He values me. Unlike you. You're cheating on me. Cheating? Edward, you have nothing left to offer me. It would be cheating if you were still my real husband. But you've become nothing. So what do you want to do? Divorce. I want a divorce. I faked surprise. I faked pain. But I still love you. She laughed. Love doesn't pay the bills, and you can't even pay the electric bill on time. Give me a chance. Let me recover. No, it's over. It's been over for a while. I'm just making it official now. And in that moment, I called Raphael. Rafa, she asked for the divorce. Time to execute the final phase. Raphael prepared everything. We drafted a divorce document where Charlotte, thinking I had nothing left, waived any claim to asset division. After all, she thought there were only debts. She's gonna sign this without even reading it properly, Raphael said. I know. We scheduled the divorce for August 15th, at the lawyer's office. Meanwhile, Charlotte was parading her new relationship all over social media. Photos at expensive restaurants, photos in luxury cars, photos with a man in a suit. This Oliver guy. He was handsome, rich, everything I was pretending not to be anymore. She'd post captions like, "Finally with someone who deserves me," or "New life with someone who truly values me." Every post was a public stab. But I let it happen, because the more she exposed herself, the more ammunition I had. I arrived at the lawyer's office at 3:30, unshaven on purpose, wrinkled shirt on purpose, looking completely defeated. Charlotte arrived promptly at 3:40, all dolled up, dressed in all white. Ironic, right? Perfect makeup, high heels, expensive purse. She barely looked at me. Her lawyer was a young, cocky guy. Mine was Raphael, discreet but observing everything. We began. Her lawyer explained the terms. Charlotte would get nothing. I would keep the debts. The ones she thought existed. Sounds perfect, she said, smiling. She signed the first document, the second, the third. I signed them too. When she got to the last one, the final one, she paused, looked at me. Edward, you were a good husband until you became poor, but what can you do, right? That's life. And she signed. Done. Divorced. She stood up, putting away her copy. Oh, and just so you know, Oliver and I are getting married next month. It's gonna be a huge party. You're not invited. That's when I smiled. Charlotte, you just made the biggest mistake of your entire life. She frowned. What are you talking about? I looked at Raphael. He pulled an envelope from his briefcase. Charlotte, I never went bankrupt. Silence. What? I never went bankrupt. It was all a setup, to test you. The color drained from her face. You're lying. Raphael laid the documents on the table. Bank statements, company deeds, all active and profitable. Proof of assets. $15 million, all of it, right there. Charlotte grabbed the papers with trembling hands. This can't be real. It's real. I faked the bankruptcy to see if you truly loved me, and you showed me exactly who you really are. The tears started falling, but they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of desperation. Edward, I didn't... You signed the divorce waiving all rights to everything. It's right here. You're entitled to nothing. Absolutely nothing. She looked at her lawyer. He was reading the documents, pale as a ghost. Is there any way to undo this? She asked. No, Raphael said. It's signed, notarized, and registered. Charlotte collapsed into her chair. Edward, please. I was confused. I didn't mean all those things. I love you. You love me? Yes. Yes, I love you. You said you loved my money, not me, remember? I was stressed. You said I was dead weight, remember? I didn't mean... You humiliated me in public, you cheated on me, and you posted about it all over social media, bragging about it. She was crying uncontrollably now, mascara running down her face. Forgive me. Give me one more chance. No. I stood up, grabbed my things. Good luck with Oliver, Charlotte. Oh, and just so you know, he's not as rich as you think. I checked. He's got more debts than I pretended to have. Her eyes went wide, and I walked out of that lawyer's office, free. 6 months have passed since the divorce. Charlotte tried to reach out to me several times. Tearful messages, phone calls. She even showed up at my building. I'd moved back to my apartment, of course. I blocked all her contacts, made it clear through my lawyer that I wanted no further communication with her whatsoever. Her relationship with Oliver lasted 2 months. When she found out he had real debts, she dumped him. But by then, her reputation was already destroyed. Her friends distanced themselves. Nobody wanted to be associated with the woman who cheated on her husband and lost everything because of greed. She went back to work, as an event promoter again, barely making any money, living in a small rented apartment. I don't feel sorry for her. I feel relief. And me? Today I'm focused on myself. I went back to working on my companies. They've grown even more. I'm investing in new projects. I also met someone, Carla. She's a nurse, simple, genuine. This time, I was honest from the beginning about my financial situation. No tests, no games. I learned that healthy relationships are built on transparency and mutual trust, not traps. Carla got to know me exactly as I am, with my strengths and flaws, my intense work schedule, and my difficult past. And she chose to stay. Not for the money, but for me. We've been dating for 4 months now, and for the first time in years, I'm genuinely happy. The lesson? Money reveals people's true character. And when someone loves you only for what you have, that's not love. That's self-interest. And self-interest doesn't sustain anything. It crumbles at the first sign of trouble. But true love withstands any storm. Stories like this don't just serve to move us emotionally. They serve to open our eyes. If you enjoy powerful emotional stories that have real meaning for life, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel to follow more intense stories like this one, and don't forget to turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next story.